if you want to say, oh, where exactly is, Lithuania, right? And you pull out the map, and then, you are zoomed into the street level, right? That doesn't make sense, right? But maybe your style is to always by default set to, from 1 to 7 at the 2 level, which is the street level, right? And you don't even see the countries, right? Right. And so if you're looking for a country that you don't know, then you want to zoom out, right? And see one of those, I don't know, there's 200 something or whatever, somewhere between 150, 200 countries. Maybe there's more. But anyways, you zoom out to the country level, you see Australia, the continent country, you see Brazil, you see, Germany, and then, oh, there's Lithuania, right? And so is one right or wrong? I mean, now, if you want to find a specific intersection, right, Main Street and 6th Street, then you need to zoom back in to, deeper than the country level for sure. You don't see those street intersections at that level, right? So a lot of the, discussions that kind of, devolve into confrontation and conflict and even so-called, war, if not informational, then, talk about martial arts, right? Let's fight it out, right? Okay, is due to kind of just mutual limitations that don't overlap, and so in other words, a lacking of wisdom, right? So yeah, so I hope that what we discuss isn't just hypothetical and theoretical for that. Again, we're doing this as a video, so that's our media, that's our means. But I hope people can apply some of the frameworks or perspectives that we threw out, or maybe from their own experience they can already understand, like, oh, what they're talking about makes sense or doesn't make sense, right? So everyone has their sovereignty and their agency to apply it in their own individual way and in their kind of community of training. But I like this idea of an ecosystem of practices and principles, not just a monoculture, right? Let's burn down the ecosystem with 1,000 species and just plant soybean. And a specific soybean that's genetically modified, that's resistant to the particular herbicide that you also sell. So I think nature, there's a ecological succession, from any kind of barren area, of species, but usually, the most healthy kind of ecosystems have a biodiversity. Just like our body has a biodiversity of the bacteria, right? The microbiome, if you're healthy. So same way, conceptually, like most people, I think, get stuck because they have a monoculture of mind. They're not able to have a plurality, or what I like to call a unity of diversity, and be able to self-select depending on the context what's most useful. And if someone has a different perspective, you're able to, with your wisdom, to meet them at least halfway, rather than say, no, that doesn't make sense within your little box.
Yeah, that's a good place to, or a good summary of what we discussed here, or I guess throughout all of our discussions, something to just take away. Because like you said, these concepts are not necessarily bad. I mean, but I would say they're, instead of just rules to never be broken, they're guidelines to be used in context, and you have to view the whole thing, in context with everything else, other than just concentrating on one thing or being a little bit over simplistic. But I like everything that you said here.
When you said go ahead. When you said that, I thought about the road again and those lines, right? Now, if you were driving on the center line, right, straddling the center line between 2 lanes, I think you'll get pulled over by the police, right, and say, "What are you doing here?" Like, what? I thought this is the center line. You have a road and it's bisected like this, and on the Z-axis. And Sifu Paul said, "No, don't drop my name." But it's kind of funny, right? And now another kind of aspect of that, say, like you're driving and it's 2-lane, right, and you have slow lane and fast lane, right, and there's a dotted line between, and you're in your lane, okay, and there's another line on your right side, which is a solid line, right, that you don't want to cross over, right? That's not allowed to cross over. But what if up ahead, there's a giant big rig truck that's spinning out of control, right? And
Oh,
it's coming towards you, right? Now, in that case, are you going to be limited by, and it's occupying the two lanes, right? Coming at you, right? Are you going to be limited by that white line that some guy drew, like a month ago? I would say no. I am crossing that limit, right, and driving into the so-called shoulder, even if there's a little ditch there, right,
mhm.
and sort of violating, like you said, that rule, that limit, right, because there's a higher, kind of value here, which is like survivability, right,
Yeah.
and so that's just kind of little. I think a lot in these kind of scenarios, so there's, I think, a thread that kind of runs through our conversations is that the martial field, the martial paradigm is really beautiful, really useful. And I think in our first conversation, I believe that everyone should have that kind of warrior aspect, that kind of animal nature, that often is domesticated out of us, that would be advisable to keep, even for just your health, and your embodiment. A lot of people are unhealthy because they're all stuck in their head, right? And I should say, and these principles, I hope people can see, is that even if you never step into a dojo, they also apply in your day-to-day life.